Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, hopefully you bared through all my videos here, and so far we've cleaned this needle out. I didn't really do the job that I needed to, so we pulled the carburetor out, tore it apart, cleaned it up, and in this video we're going to be putting it back together. So hopefully you're enjoying these. Leave a comment if you would like me to do a video just the whole thing all the way through. I might do that if I get enough people saying they want me to. Also leave comments if you'd rather me, instead of trying to stick with these 15 minutes at a time type things that I'm doing, would rather me just to go all the way through. But it seems when I do that, either I lose a lot of people or I don't know, they don't seem to go over all that well. And I am the kind of person that I'm doing these videos for the people who've never done this before, and I'm trying to give all the information I can. So therefore, that's how I'm going to do my videos. That's not going to change. But please leave constructive comments if you can think of ways I can and make these videos better for you guys. Alright, let's get to it. And here we go. We got all the pieces in here. Except for some of the stuff that goes on the outside that I'm not putting on yet. We got the new gaskets, so they'll be ready to go. I think I'm going to start with the stuff in here for now, and hope I can remember how they all go. And pray this thing, I didn't mess it up too badly, hopefully. Alright. Our smaller screwdriver here. Alright, then this piece goes in with the smaller tip down, so that's where the needle goes into. That should drop down into there. There we go. And then we got the next jet here, or whatever this is. Oh, I'm putting it in upside down here. You know what? I'm not sure if I actually blew carburetor cleaner through this. I want to make sure. So I remember cleaning the outside, but I don't remember if I got the inside of this one. I did get it with the little cleaner thing. I remember doing that. Okay. And clean my screwdrivers now before I use them. Same thing, just kind of until it stops, and then give it a little bit of a bump. They don't need to be reefed in there. Okay, what is the next step here? We need to put on our float bowl here. And this doesn't appear to have a whole lot of adjustment, to be honest. And I don't think there's a direction that it has to go, but right in here, there it goes, just like that, and kind of sits in there. Hopefully that showed it well. And then I'm going to turn this around, make sure that goes down in the orifice there, and put your pin in. Okay, and make sure that's sitting in there and moving up and down freely. Okay. Now I know there's a way to make sure this is probably adjusted right and everything's where it needs to be, but like I said, there's not a whole lot of adjustment in that I can see anyway. And I don't think there was any problems with this, so I'm going to go with it. You can choose to do what you want to do. I do know that there's a way to turn it upside down and do a measurement from here to here, and then bring it back and do a measurement. Again, I'm going with it. Now we got our bowl. This is where we need to get our first gasket out. I got this kit here. From Honda. I actually went to the Honda store by me because it was cheaper to get it at the local store than online by the time you paid shipping. Shipping on this was so much. So basically, since they order so many of these things and don't have to pay as much for shipping, their prices will maybe, I don't know if in your case, but in my case, the price related. It was like 13 bucks, and I didn't have to pay shipping or anything like that on top. I'm sure I paid some of the shipping of their cost, but otherwise it was like about the same price, but you had like 5 or 6 bucks shipping on this little thing. But there's two little O-rings. I'll show you on the back here. Two little O-rings here, and then the one big one that goes around. My screwdriver on it here. Grab the first one out of here. I'm going to leave the other ones in there because they're tiny and I don't want to lose them. And this is directional here, so I'll make sure we're not doing this and losing it. So I'm going to actually turn this upside down. I actually brought it down on top of it here. Have the gasket in there. Bring this down on top where it lines up. And then we can make sure we're all in there and start putting our screws in. Put all my screwdrivers back. Now I gotta grab them all back out again. There we go. Now this is where, whenever you're doing this kind of thing, kind of go backwards first until you feel the click, and then go in. That way you don't cross thread it. Again, you look up your own torque specs if you would like to. I'm good with that. Now we need to grab the other O-ring out of here, the bigger of the two. The bigger of the two O-rings goes on this, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but it goes in the float bowl and it keeps the gas, it makes it so you can drain the gas out, or keeps the gas from coming out basically. But it goes all the way up to the very end. So quite honestly, I know there's something you can put on these to make them slide on without hurting them, so I'm going to try and look and see if I can find something. And quite honestly, all I could find was some like dielectric grease, which I have honestly no idea. It shouldn't, it's made for rubber boots and things, for your spark plug boots and stuff, so I'm going to go with it just to make it a little bit slipperier, and hopefully we can get this on here. Well, that wasn't very easy. Took a little bit of time there, but I got it on there. I'm going to stick it in there, clean my hands off. With the O-ring on there, you don't want to smash the O-rings. O-rings seal really good. And yet again, if I see a little bit of something dripping out of there, which I will kind of look at everything, make sure we're not leaking anywhere, I can snug that up a little bit more. You can't pull it back if you need to. So, alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is actually go on the side here. Yet again, by where the butterfly opening section here, it's a little plastic thing here that one of the sensors hooks onto. That's where this needle that's got the single D, only I used the double D tip on it, and we're going to take that, we're going to put the spring on it, and then there's the little washer thing. I'm going to stick that up on there, and we got the O-ring. We're going to put that on there, see if that'll all kind of stay there, hopefully. So that's kind of what you want right there. Hopefully you can see that. Put that down in the hole here. And honestly, with this, I should have probably checked to see how far down it went and counted, because I'm realizing I think this is a adjustment for something, and I probably am going to have to try and figure that out as well. But I'm going to go all the way down till it probably either gets snugger than I like or till it stops, but I will not go too far because you don't want to mess up that tip. Okay, so I went all the way down until it hits, and with most of these adjustments it's like a turn and a half to 2 turns. I am going to look in my book and see if I can find that, but for right now I'm just putting this together and then I'll find that later, so that'll be later on in the video. So I'm going to go 1 turn and a half. I'm going to call that probably where it probably is. That seems to be the majority of things on carburetors for some reason. Don't know why. So now we got this. Now I have a video on this already of pulling this apart, cleaning it, and putting it back together and putting it in the bike, seeing if it'll start. Sometimes just cleaning this up can be your problem. But the first thing, you got your needle here. Make sure your diaphragm is not being pinched anywhere. I made sure it got on there pretty good. And I'll be honest with you, I cannot remember which side this goes on. This goes on one of these. I'm going to set that on there and figure that out. Once again, backwards till you hear the click. Snug it down. And I went and looked, and this goes on the one right here, opposite of where this piece is going to go back on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Now we got this piece here, and you got a part where you got the 2 little notch here that goes between 2 small ones here, and then on this side you got 2 bigger ones with a further distance here. Make sure this knob is straight up and down with this right here, but the 2 notches go sideways like that, and this notch here kind of leans up against the edge of this. So I'm going to stuff that, put that on there. Just kind of got to give it a good shove until it stops. It actually, you can kind of see where it sits against it here on the inside. There's kind of a little section, little gasket almost in the middle here. That all still works. Now, where to the sensor part here. And hopefully I don't get censored on my video, but talking about these sensors. So the black one here goes on the butterfly catch there, and it's going to put it straight on to where you could get it the screw into here. It won't go, so you got to kind of sit it sideways, and then it's got kind of a little spring to it like that. So then you're going to put your screw in there, and the spot it goes into, and it goes into that little spot there. And you got to make sure that that needle is going down in where the needle needs to go. Don't force anything. If it doesn't go down fairly easy, it's probably not in the right place. Make sure this little tab here is going to be able to go on where you want it to, and just push it down. There we go. Have to be real tight. You can look in your book to find out, I'm sure, specs and all that, but I'm not too worried about it. Now I'm going to make sure, reach in here and make sure this goes up and down. And it does. It's just the diaphragm section with the needle there. And we should be good to put this back in the bike. Oh, don't forget your cover on this too. Remember. I forget where, but how it goes on. This is kind of a didn't quite fit type situation here. There we go. So got to get it over that little piece there. Okay, now I think it's ready to go on the bike. So I'll meet you back there. And as you can see, it's in. I went ahead and just put this thing in. I have a video on pulling it out, which was much harder than putting it in, and it wasn't even that hard to pull out. So go watch that video, do everything in reverse basically. It's not a difficult thing. The biggest thing you have to think about is right here, the throttle cable. Just making sure your adjustments are right. You don't want this too tight and you don't want it too loose. You want to make sure that it goes through its entire motion and comes up, hits the stop, comes back, also hits the stop. If it's not hitting the stop of this right here, then you know you got it too tight and you need to let it back it off some. So a lot of people tend to mark where these are. Probably a good idea when you're taking it off. But I like just adjusting things, because usually when you move things around and pull things completely out, some of the stuff needs readjusted anyway, even if you put it right back to where it was. So it's in. Another thing, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be up here like that, or if I should turn this around and put it the other way, but I'm going to try it about like this for right now and just kind of make sure it's out of the way, make sure the throttle goes through. That's another thing, you want to make sure if you let off of it, it goes all the way back. If you have any kind of binding, fix it now. Don't mess with a throttle that doesn't work. That's the first most dangerous thing I've seen people do. They'll have sticky throttles and not work on them, and I've seen a few people ride that way where they were just doing it by hand, and just not a good idea. If you lose control, that throttle is wide open, you're in a mess of hurt. Anyhow, so it's in, we plugged everything in, we put all our hoses back on, everything in reverse. Got everything buttoned up, got the air filter back in it, because that can affect things as well. Now, the spider's making a nest already through here. I have seen that there could be computer issues where you need to reset your computer. I'm going to forego that for right now, and we're going to just see if it'll start up. If not, then we'll go through that process. Pump cycle a few times here. On. That, I believe, is the right way. The brake is on. Let's see what happens here. No hands. Alright, well, as you can see, it runs, so I'm going to call that pretty much a video right there. A couple things, the adjustment, that double D, or it was actually a single D, but I used the double D wrench on it, or driver on it, whatever you call it. I actually didn't do any more adjustment to it. Now I might have to go back in there and mess with that some. I actually kind of forgot about it before I even started the thing, and then I thought about it later when I was doing some of the more editing stuff, that I actually need to probably do some adjustment on that. But I'm going to go take it out and see how it runs. So I'm above the Kickstarter, below the body panel here, and in between here you'll see that black, this is the carburetor right here, where this little brass ball thing is right here. And here's the black where it opens and closes the butterfly. I don't know exactly what it is, but the little thing that we had to unplug there. Anyway, and right below here is that screw that I put in there, and I had to put the O-ring in and stuff that I adjusted about, I think it was a turn and a half. But I've been going in here and getting a hold of it with that double D, even though it's a single D, I'll say that again, but the double D one out of that kit works, and going in there, and I've been turning it one turn at a time, and then taking it for a test drive, and then turning it, taking it for a test drive, and I've actually been backing it out, and it's going a little bit faster and a little bit faster each time. Now once you get to a point where it's not going any faster, you want to back it back to that point. That is how I am doing it. Whether or not you want to do it that way, you need to look in your book and you need to do more research, because I'm just testing it and tuning it as I need and as I feel. That doesn't mean I'm doing it right. So, but I did think I should throw this in here and tell you that I did feel I needed to back it out, because I could tell it was kind of hesitating a little bit, and I couldn't even get it up to 30 miles an hour. Now I'm getting it a little over 32, which is pretty close to what we were before, and it's pretty windy out there right now. So I'm happy with it right here. We'll test it a little bit more and that kind of stuff, but thought I should throw that in there. Doing the antifreeze on it, so I'm going to clean the whole coolant system out, or flush it out to my best abilities. So I'll have a video on that. You can go check that out. So I've done several videos on this bike. Go check out my Honda Metropolitan / Ruckus in my playlists. Go check out all my playlists. They have pretty much all my videos and all my things where I have several videos on the same thing. I got several playlists depending on all my projects out there. So go check those out. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave some comments down below, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to call this a video, though. It seems to be running. I got to take it out and drive it and really check it out. And if I have any problems, you'll be the first to know. Well, I guess I'll be the first to know. You'll be the next to know. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, master of none. You all have a good one.